In this video, I will show you how to replace the blend door actuators in this 4th generation Kia Sportage. The blend door actuator is a small electric motor that controls the movement of the temperature blend door inside the HVAC system. It adjusts how much air passes through the heater core or the evaporator, which allows you to control cabin temperature precisely. This Sportage has dual zone automatic climate control, so it has 2 blend door actuators, one for the driver side and another for the passenger side. Each actuator independently controls airflow temperature for each side of the cabin. When one actuator fails, you might notice inconsistent temperature between the 2 zones. For example, one side is hot while the other side is cold even when the temperature setting is set to low and synced for both the zones. You might also hear clicking noise from under the dash when you try to adjust the temperature. I will show you how to replace both the blend door actuators, the driver side as well as the passenger side. One more thing, if your Sportage has a manual single-zone AC system, there will be only one actuator. Let's start with the driver's side actuator first. Turn off the engine and for safety reasons, disconnect the negative terminal of the battery. Now if you look under the driver's side dashboard, you can actually take a quick peek at the blend door actuator behind the shower duct. This gives you an idea of where it is located before you start removing any parts. To reach the driver's side blend door actuator, you will first have to remove the crash pad lower panel located just under the steering wheel. This panel is held in place by several screws and some of them are hidden. There is one visible screw near the bottom left corner of the panel. You can take this out using a Phillips head screwdriver. Next, you will have to remove the 3 hidden screws that sit behind the crash pad side cover. That's the trim piece on the side of the dashboard, facing the driver's door. To remove this side cover, look for a small rectangular notch along the lower edge. That's your access point. Before you take out the panel, first peel back the rubber weather strip along the door frame. Now use a plastic trim removal tool and gently pry the side cover outward. It's held in place by a few clips, so it should pop off with steady, even pressure. With the side cover removed, you will see 3 hidden screws securing the crash pad lower panel. Remove all 3 with your Phillips head screwdriver. Once all 4 screws are out, start pulling the panel outward slowly. You will feel several plastic clips releasing as you work around the edges. Take your time here. If the clips feel tight, don't yank on the panel. Gently work your way around to avoid cracking it or breaking any mounting tabs. At the bottom right corner, the panel locks into the side trim near the door frame. Pull back the weather strip in that area and unclip the 2 pieces carefully. Then push the panel slightly upward to unhook it completely. Be careful when fully removing this panel. The OBD diagnostic port is attached to the back side. Remove the 2 screws holding the OBD port, then set the port aside. Now the panel is free and you can safely remove it. With the lower panel removed, the next step is to take off the driver's side shower duct. This is the plastic air duct that directs airflow toward the footwell. This duct is held in place by a single screw. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to loosen and remove the screw. The shower duct is also clipped in from the top, so it will not drop down with just the screw removed. After taking out the screw, grip the duct and pull it from the top with a bit of firm, steady pressure. Once the top clip releases, the duct will come off easily. This is the mounting point on the duct that goes over the clip on the HVAC housing. With the shower duct out of the way, we now have full access to the driver's side blend door actuator. It's mounted on the HVAC housing and held in place with 3 screws. Start by disconnecting the electrical connector. Press down on the locking tab with your thumb, then gently pull the connector straight out. Avoid pulling on the wires, only pull on the plug itself. Next, remove the 3 screws on the actuator. Space is a bit tight under the dashboard, so use a small stubby screwdriver. Take your time and keep a firm grip on the screwdriver to avoid dropping the screws inside the trim. Once all the screws are out, carefully pull the actuator straight out from its mounting position. Here is a close-up of the driver's side blend door actuator. This is the part number. The blend door actuator mounts onto a keyed shaft that comes out of the HVAC housing. This keyed design ensures the actuator can only fit in one correct orientation. When you remove the actuator, you will notice that the opening on the back of the actuator is shaped to match this keyed shaft, so it lines up in only one position. When installing the new actuator, rotate the actuator slightly until the keyed opening lines up naturally with the shaft. Once aligned, the actuator will slide into place smoothly without any resistance. If it does not go in easily, the key is not aligned, so adjust the actuator instead of pushing forcefully. Once it is properly seated, reinstall the 3 screws you removed earlier. Tighten them evenly but do not over-tighten. The mounting area is plastic and can crack if too much pressure is applied. Next, reconnect the electrical connector by pushing it in until you hear or feel a click. Before reassembling the rest of the panels, it's a good idea to test the new actuator to make sure it is functioning correctly. Reconnect the negative battery terminal. Then start the engine. Adjust the temperature control for the driver's side from cold to hot. If everything is operating quietly and the temperature transitions properly, the installation is complete and you can continue with the reassembly. Now I will show you how to replace the passenger side blender actuator. The passenger side blender actuator controls the temperature for the front passenger zone, allowing that side of the cabin to be adjusted independently. If the air on the passenger side stays stuck on hot or cold, or if we hear a clicking sound from behind the glove box when changing the temperature, this actuator is likely the cause. As before, we will start by disconnecting the negative terminal of the battery for safety reasons. The actuator sits behind the glove box housing, so you'll have to remove this housing to access the actuator. Start by removing the crash pad undercover located beneath the glove box. This cover is held in place by 2 clips near its front edges. Use your fingers or a small flat tool to press the locking tab inside each clip, then gently pull the cover downward to release it. Once the front clips are free, slide the cover towards you to disengage it from the rear mounting points and set it aside. With the undercover removed, you can take a quick peek at the blender actuator from this opening. It's mounted on the side of the HVAC housing, just behind the glove box area. Next, we are going to remove the glove box. Open the glove box and remove all items. Inside, you will see 2 stoppers, one on each side, that limit how far the glove box opens. Twist each stopper counterclockwise to release it from its slot. Next, look to the side of the glove box, where you will find the damper arm. Gently unclip the damper arm from the glove box. Once it's detached, the glove box will tilt downward and hang loosely. To completely remove the glove box, you will have to take out the hinge pins at the bottom. It's easy. Just press the end of each pin and it will slide out. With both hinge pins removed, you can lift the glove box away and set it aside. Now you will notice that the glove box housing itself is secured with several bolts along the bottom edge. However, there are also a few hidden screws you will have to remove. These are located behind the crash pad garnish, the long trim that runs across the dashboard, and the side trim panel on the edge of the dashboard. To remove the long trim piece, you will first have to loosen the upper cover of the center console, since the 2 panels slightly overlap. You do not have to take the console cover off completely, just lift it enough to give yourself some working space. Before you start loosening the console cover, move the gear shifter to the neutral position. To do that with the engine turned off, remove the small cap next to the shifter using a flathead screwdriver and press the shift lock release button. This will allow you to slide the shifter out of park, giving you more space to lift the panel without obstruction. Make sure the parking brake is engaged, or place wheel chocks behind the tires to prevent any movement. Now, firmly grip the console cover near the armrest area and pull it upward. You will hear the plastic clips releasing as you go. Continue along the edges, applying steady and even pressure until the top panel is completely loose. Once the console cover is lifted, you will have enough clearance to remove the long trim. The long trim is held in place by multiple clips and a screw hidden behind this side panel on the passenger side dashboard. Look closely and you will notice a tiny notch near the bottom edge of the panel. That's your starting point. Before removing the panel, pull back the rubber weather strip along the door frame. Grip the seal near the dashboard and gently peel it away just enough to expose the edge of the side panel. Next, insert a plastic trim tool or a flathead screwdriver into that notch and carefully pry the panel outward. The panel is held in place with clips, so apply steady, even pressure until each clip pops free. With the side panel removed, you will see a screw near the upper edge. Go ahead and remove the screw. Once that screw is out, you can now remove the long trim piece. There are 2 clips securing the trim on the side, so it's best to start from this end first. Insert a plastic trim tool or a flathead screwdriver between the trim and the dashboard, and gently pry the edge outward. Once both side clips are free, Work your way across the rest of the trim, applying steady, even pressure along the length. The remaining clips will release one by one as you move along. Continue until the entire trim piece comes off, and set it aside somewhere safe to avoid scratches. Now we have access to all the screws and bolts for the glove box housing. There are 2 screws at the top edge of the housing, 3 screws on the side, and 4 bolts near the bottom edge. Remove all 5 screws using a Phillips head screwdriver. Use a 10mm socket wrench to remove the bolts. After removing all the screws and bolts, the glove box housing is still held in place by a few retaining clips, 2 on the side and 1 larger one at the top. The housing is also clipped in from the side. Use a plastic trim removal tool or a flathead screwdriver to unclip it first. Then gently grab the housing from the top and pull it straight outward. Do not pull too hard. There are wiring harnesses connected at the back of the housing. There is a light attached at the top of the housing. This light does not use a standard plug type connector. Instead, it has 2 separate wires that slide directly onto the light's terminals. Because of this setup, it's much easier to remove the light itself than disconnecting the wires. Just push the light downward and it will pop out. With the light out of the way, you can move on to releasing the housing. The glove box housing is clipped into the side trim as well, so go ahead and unclip that side first. Push the housing inward and the side trim outward, and you will feel the clip pop free from the trim. With the side clip released, lift that side of the housing slightly to unhook it from the trim. The housing is now free, but there is still the glove box light switch harness attached near the bottom edge. Make sure to disconnect it before pulling the housing out completely. Press the release tab on the side, then pull out the connector. Now you can remove the housing completely. With the glove box housing out of the way, you will now see the passenger side shower duct. This air duct directs airflow to the footwell area. It is held in place by a single screw near the bottom. Use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the screw. Once the screw is out, the top part of the duct is still clipped into the HVAC housing. Grip the duct firmly from the top and pull it straight outward to detach it from the main air outlet. It may feel a bit tight, so gently wiggle it as you pull to release it completely. With the shower duct removed, you now have full access to the passenger side blender actuator. It is mounted on the side of the HVAC unit and secured with 3 screws. Start by disconnecting the electrical connector. Press down the locking tab and pull the plug straight out. Then remove the 3 screws using a Phillips head screwdriver. Once the screws are out, gently pull the actuator straight off the blender shaft. It should come off smoothly without any resistance. Here is a close-up of the passenger side blender actuator. This is the part number. Before installing the new actuator, check the shape of the hole on the actuator and the blend door shaft on the HVAC housing. They are keyed to fit in only one orientation, so proper alignment is important. Gently rotate the actuator until the shapes line up correctly. Once both are aligned, slide the new actuator straight onto the shaft, making sure it sits flush against the HVAC housing without forcing it. Next, reinstall the 3 screws and tighten them evenly until the actuator is secure. Then reconnect the electrical connector, pushing it in until it clicks into place. At this point, it is a good idea to test the actuator before putting everything back together. Reconnect the negative terminal of the battery, move the gear shifter to park, and then start the engine. Switch between hot and cold temperature settings on the passenger side and listen for the actuator moving inside the dash. You should hear smooth, quiet movement and feel the air temperature change accordingly from the vents. If everything operates correctly, turn off the ignition and proceed with the reassembly. This repair can be a bit time-consuming because of all the interior trim and panels. But with a little patience and a few basic tools, it's definitely a DIY-friendly job. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe to Join for more automotive repair guides and maintenance tips. Thanks for watching.